Okay, I'm going to set this up for one player, since this has the option of playing with 1 to 4 players. So first thing I do is I'm going to set up my capital. I'm going to set up the other planes. Notice they were front and back. So let's do planes here. Let's do the coast here. Let's do the desert here. The mountains here. Forest here. Switch these around. I don't think it really matters, but so I'm going to set them up. Now, even though I'm playing one player, for one player, you still have to have a red token and a blue token. So I pulled out the yellow and green tokens out. So it's these character cards here. So I pull those out. You get 2 red and 2 blue. And shuffle these up. And then the enemy horde gets enemy horde gets 3. So put 3 there. Shuffle these guys up. And let's do it at impossible. So the horde size is 8. So let's count 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That leaves 1 card left. Put that off to the side. Put 1 epic foe. So I put the epic foe on the bottom. Like that. Kind of put it where it can be seen though. I know. Put it right there. Here's my, kind of take the rest of my epics, put them off to the side. Oh, I'm going to need, Capital City gets it at 0. Everything else gets a threat level at 1. So you take these little orange wooden pieces, put them at threat level 1 for each area except for the capital. Now I'm going to pick out what I'm going to want. Let's go with Sorcerer and Warlord. Do Sorcerer and Warlord. So I had done Sorcerer and Warlord last time with 1 person, so we'll see if I get the similar results. So it's health at 3. Put these guys. So you can see those. Warlord's going to be blue. Sorcerer's red. Okay. Here's my action deck. So let's see if so we won last time fairly easily. Let's see if this happens again. So put this in a spot. Let's put the action. Where's a good place for this? Yeah, right here. The action deck will be right here then. Okay, so for the action, red player gets to go first. That's a sorcerer. I'm going to move to the plains, and I'm going to I'm going to fight. So that's one action to move. I get 3 actions. One is to move. Now, if I understand this correctly with the rules, I can only move to these 2 places. To go to these others, I'm going to have to go around. So I'm going to kind of put those off just to the side just a little bit. If I understood that correctly, I'm going to have to. So you can only, as far as I know, you can only get to the capital on these 2 adjacent ones. To go to these, you're going to have to go circle around. Okay, so 1 action's to move, 1's to fight. That puts the threat level to 0. I get another action, and I will move to the forest, and that will be the end of the red turn. Okay, so well, I believe the turn ends when I completely go through this deck, this action deck. So, Horde attacks the mountain and the plains. So it goes up by 1, mountain goes up by 1. Next, blue player goes. So blue player is going to move to the plains, and it's going to fight 1. And with using its ability, it's also going to move player 1 space. So I will go to the mountain. Move the sorcerer to the mountain. So that ends blue players. Now this is the desert, goes up by 1, and the forest goes up by 1. Now again, this is at the highest level of difficulty. So red player. Okay, so I'm going to fight twice. 1, 2. That gives me 1 more action. And I'm going to move back to the forest. Blue player is going to go to the coast for 1, 2, and move to the desert. Okay. Desert takes 1, however I'm on the desert, so I'm going to take 1 health to defend it. And the coast takes 1. So that is the end of the turn. I'm going to shuffle these up. Since they're so small, they're a little bit difficult to shuffle. So I'm trying to, we're just kind of mixing them up. Okay. Okay, that, oh, I forgot. This also gets to play this. So this is the Horde. So they get the desert and the plains. Plains go up by 1 threshold. Desert goes up by 1, but Warlord's there, so I'm going to block it. Okay. Now it's new action. Red player. Okay, so I'm on the forest. For 2 action points, you can reduce the threshold by 1. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna 2 action points. I'm gonna reduce the threshold of the desert by. No, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna reduce the coast by 1. Then I'm gonna spend a health. You give me 2 extra points, so I'm back at 3. So the sorcerer's special ability, remove 3 threat points from a region for 2 AP. So I'm going to spend 2, and I'm going to reduce the desert to 1, to 0, I mean, and I still get 1 more move, and I think I'm going to reduce the forest by 1. If I understand how to play this correctly. If not, then I think they should make this a little more the rules of the sorcerer's ability, because it doesn't say I can do it within the region that I'm at. So I'm assuming it can be anywhere. It's the coast tax. It's taxed by 1. Threshold gets increased by 1, and desert increases by 1. However, I'm on the desert, so I'm gonna yeah, I'll do that. So the warlord's at 0. I'm not dead, but at 0 you can't defend, and you can't defend. I'm sorry, I gotta look up the rules for a second. And according to this, according to the rules, if you're at 0 health, you don't die. The player can't defend. So I'm gonna read it. The player is at 0 health. They are not eliminated, but they may not defend a region or use health to gain extra actions. But it says so basically I still can fight and I still can move, if I understand that correctly. So I'm going, okay, so now next, mountains and plains. Alright, I'm on the mountain, however, can't defend, I can't defend it, so it automatically takes 1. The plains go up by 1. Blue player, okay, so I'll fight for 1 action. I will then use its special ability, move a player to 1 space for 1 action, and I will use so I got 1 more action, so I'll use the return to capital city for 1 action, so that'll be 3. Okay, red player, I will then fight twice, 1, 2, that brings it down to 2, and I will move to the coast. The forest gets attacked, and the desert gets attacked. Blue player. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'll do that. So I'm going to move to the blue player's going to move to the ruins. Going to fight. Gets reduced to 0. It's going to move back to the capital. That will end its turn. Now we do horde. So the plains get attacked and the forest gets attacked for 1. So anybody in the capital city will gain their health back. So that'll bring it back to 3. Okay. And it's new round. Blue player. I will move 1, 2. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I will move 1, 2, and then fight to reduce the threat level by 1. Red player, I will reduce the threat level by 1 for 1 action. I'll move to the plains. So it's 1, 2, and then I'll reduce the threat level again. Red player, I will move to the capital, and I'll use its special ability for 2 points to raise the threat level by 3. So I'll drop the forest down to 0. That'll end its turn. Forest goes up by 1, and the desert goes up by 1. I think I'll have to go back, but I think I screwed up on the desert. No, I believe I used the movement of the capital. For the desert, it actually takes 2 action points to leave the desert, so I may have screwed that up, but I think I used a special ability to go to the capital city, which would have been gotten in the way of that. Okay, so coast gets hit by 1, desert gets hit by 1, blue player 3. I'll move there. Ooh, mountain gets hit by 1, and plains gets hit by 1. Okay, so now for the horde, coast gets hit by 1, and ruins gets hit by 1. Okay, so my sorcerer is in the capital city, so he's healed. Blue player, I'll fight twice. Well, I'll fight 3 times. 1, 2, 3, which will end its action. Red player, I'll go to the plains and I'll fight. And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend 2 points to reduce the coast to 0. Then I'll just move to the plains. So forest goes up by 1, and desert gets up by 1. I will take a damage, reduce the desert to prevent the damage from the desert. Mountains go up by 1, and plains go up by 1, and I will take damage because I'm on the plains. My sorcerer's on the plains, so I'll prevent it. Blue player. I'll move to the ruins, fight, so that's 2 points, and I will move to the mountain. Desert goes up by 1, coast goes up by 1. Red player, I will reduce the plains to 0, move to the forest, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I'll fight again for 3, reducing it by 1. See where the horde attacked, and I will take 1 damage to prevent the forest, and the ruins get hit by 1. Shuffle up my action deck. Okay, so forest takes 1. I will reduce to 0, prevent that, and desert also gets 1. Mountains, I will take 1 damage from the blue guy, and plains will go up by 1. Red player. I will spend 2 points to reduce this to 0, the desert to 0, and I'll move 1 space. Coast goes up by 1, desert goes up by 1. Okay, red, I will spend 2 points to reduce the coast to 0, and I will spend 1 point to move to the capital city. Blue player, I will fight twice, 1, 2, and then I will move to the forest. Blue player, for 2 action points, I'll do that. I'll spend 2 action points to reduce threat level by 1. So I'll reduce the desert, and I will then move to the plains. Now it's the Horde's turn. So it's the coast that gets hit, and the mountains. Okay, the mountains take 1 and the plains take 1. So just so you understand, there's little symbols, mountains and plains, and so that's how they're both getting hit by the action deck. Okay, so red player gets to go. So red player will, I'll spend 2 points to reduce the mountains to 0, and I will move to the ruins for 1. Stop there. Coast takes 1. Desert takes 1. Red player, I will spend 2 points to reduce the coast to 0, and I will fight the ruins for 0. Blue player, I will fight twice to reduce plains 0, and I will then go to the forest. I will fight once to reduce the forest to 0, and I will then move to the capital with my special ability. Forest takes 1, desert takes 1. And the Horde, mountains and desert. Okay, so the Warlord is in the capital, so he heals. The Sorcerer does not. Okay. So the desert, desert was destroyed, and the coast goes up by 1. So when the capital is now the capital city is now damaged when an enemy attacks here. Okay, so any more desert, and the capital city would take 1. Red player. I will move to the mountains, reduce it by 1. It's 2. Now move to the forest. Blue player. Take 2 actions. Wait, 1, 2, and then fight for 1. Forest takes 1. 2, and capital, because the desert's hit, capital takes 1. Plains and mountains. So plains take 1, mountains take 1. Red player, fight twice, 1, 2, and then move to the plains. Blue player, I will move using the special ability, move the sorcerer to the capital, and then move to the plains. Now the Horde's turn. So Forest takes 1, Coast takes 1. Okay, so blue player goes. I'll fight for the plains for 0. Move to the forest and then fight there for 1. Coast takes 1. Desert takes 1. So capital takes the damage. Mountain takes 1. Plains take 1. Red player. I will spend 2 points to reduce. Oh, yeah, spend 2 to reduce the coast to 1. Forgot to heal myself last turn, and I will then move to the plains. Blue player moves the mountains and then fight twice. 1, 2. Red player fight for 1. Everything's down, so I will just stay on the plains. Forest takes 1 and desert takes 1. Okay, so ruins take 1 and mountains take 1. Well, I'll take 1 damage from my warlord to prevent the mountains from taking. Desert takes 1, forest takes 1. But I can actually defend these 2 split spots on the plains, and it's a passive, so I can use that at any time. So I'll do that. So my sorcerer will take 1 damage to prevent the forest. Coast takes 1, desert takes 1. Uh-oh. Blue player. I'll fight in the mountains for 1. Move to the forest. And fight for the forest. Red player. Move to the coast. Fight once. Move back to the plains. Blue player. Oh. Blue player is going to spend 2 points to reduce the threshold for 1, so I will fix the ruins. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go 1, 2, be at the ruins. Mountain takes 1. Plains take 1, so I will prevent that with my red. And then red player. I will spend 2 points to reduce the mountains to 0, and I will move to the capital. And now we have the Kraken, which is going to be on the coast. Here's my epic. think I'm gonna lose this regardless. So the 6 health. Okay. Blue player. Oh, 1, 2. 1, 2. Now use the special ability to move for 1 space. Red player. 1, 1, 2. Kraken takes 2 damage. Blue player. So I'll do 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, almost had it. Forest takes 1. Desert takes 1. Capital City has fallen. Kingdom has fallen. So 1 player. It looks like I've lost. Okay, so that was the first loss that I've actually gotten while playing this, and so I'm going to try it with 2 different characters. So let's put the Warlord and Sorcerer back. Let's try the Barbarian and the Cleric. So I'll read what there are. So the Barbarian is passive. He may spend 2 health points on your turn instead of 1. Action for the Cleric: heal 1 player on the same space as you for 1 point. You may only do this once per turn. Okay, so let's do the Barbarian for red and the Cleric for blue. Now I've reshuffled the decks. I got a different epic foe. I reduced everything to, so everything goes back to 1 except the Capital City, which stays at 0. Okay, so I think we're ready to start. Blue player's turn. So the blue player is going to go to Ruins, reduce that to 1, and then go to the mountain. Blue player is going to reduce the mountain by 1, then move to the forest. 1, 2, and reduce the forest by 1. Red player is going to go to the plains, reduce the threat level by 1. So that's 1, 2, and then go to the coast. Red player is going to go to reduce the coast by 1. So that's 1 action. I'm going to use the coast special ability, move to any region. Doesn't really matter. I'll just go to the desert. So that's the second. 1, 2, and now fight for 1. Okay, so the Horde has got the plains take 1 damage, and the desert takes 1 damage, and the Barbarian will prevent 1 damage for the desert. Plains take 1 damage, and the forest takes 1, and the Cleric will prevent 1 damage. The desert takes 1, the Barbarian will defend it, and the mountains take 1. Show these back up. The desert takes 1, and the forest takes 1, so the damage will be prevented because I have characters on those. Okay, so new round. No one's on the capital, so no one heals. Red player takes 2 to lead the desert, so 2, and then I will move to the capital. Go from the ruins to the capital. Blue player We'll go to the plains for 1, and then we'll fight twice, reducing the plains to 0. Red player will move to the ruins, to the mountains, and then fight for 1. The desert takes 1, plains takes 1, but I'll prevent the damage. Plains takes, so they're both at 0, so they can't defend. Plains take 1, forest takes 1. Mountains take 1, can't be defended because he has no health, and desert takes 1. Blue player. Fight for 1 on the plains, move to capital city. So now epic, mountain takes 1 because it can't be defended, and plains take 1. Now this is at the highest difficulty. Normal, this is considered to be impossible, so blue's action. Well, blue actually gets healed. Barbarian, so there's no health. Okay, so blue action, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I will heal the barbarian for 1, and that will end the turn. I mean, end the action. Plains take 1, desert takes 1. Desert takes 1, desert is destroyed. Mountain takes 1, and the cleric will prevent that. Red player, 1, okay, so I'll 2 fight for 1 on the mountain, move to the ruins, move to the capital city. Blue player will fight twice in the mountains, and then we'll move to the forest. Plains take 1, forest takes 1, I'll prevent the forest. Red player, 1, reduced by 1, and then go back to the capital. Desert takes 1, so capital takes 1. Coast takes 1. Okay. Forest takes 1, I'll prevent the damage, and plains take 1. Plains will take 1, destroys the plains, and desert takes 1, so that 1 more. Red player, I will move to coast, 1, 2, reduced by 1. Blue player, fight for 1. 2 action points, reduce the threat level by 1, and I can't, everyone's at 0. So I'll just actually stay there. Mountains take 1, desert takes 1, reduces the damage, increase the damage. Red player, 1, 2, I'll stop there. Blue player, 1, 2, so they can get healed. Mountains take 1, and ruins take 1. Okay. New round. They're both healed because they were both in the capital. Plains take 1, which takes 1 damage. Forest takes 1. Red player, fight once, then move to the mountains. Blue player, one, 2, fight once. Plains take 1, and then Desert takes 1, and then Capital City is now defeated. So a lot harder. I mean, I almost won in the first game. Second game, I got totally smoked. And I really didn't get to use your special abilities, other than the Cleric once. So, yeah, that was actually, that did feel epic. That was definitely difficult. So definitely one player definitely seems to be harder, though it doesn't really matter so much. I'm going to try it on 4 players, see how 4 players work out.